happy our dreamers.
Well, here we are, another week with another fabulous woman entrepreneur.
I mean, who doesn't love an amazing woman who has a dream, comes up with an idea, and then becomes super successful?
And I feel like her story is similar to your story in that she was a mom, she was at home, and she saw a need for something in her own life, went out to create it, and has now created a multi-million-dollar business.
I know.
Products sold everywhere you go. Saks, Bergdorf's, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, everywhere.
I know. We're talking
Neiman's.
about none other than Ramy Brook. Everybody knows that name. If you love fashion, you know Ramy Brook. She has created the quintessential top to go with everything. I'm wearing a Ramy Brook top right now. They're just so stylish, amazing. And that's where her line started. But now she's branched out to amazing dresses, swimwear, lounge. She has everything that you need for your lifestyle. Her stuff is just so wearable, fashionable, easy. Anybody could wear it. I just absolutely love it. She started her business out of her living room in 2010, just from an idea, because she was like, there's no great tops. And I always had that issue too. I was like,
Yes.
I have no tops. I have bottoms. I had dresses,
jumpsuits.
Yeah, but I was like, there's no amazing tops that just look great. And she came up with this idea, and it grew to a global lifestyle brand.
And again, I love the fact that she started this from her apartment in her 40s.
Yes, exactly.
There is something about after you have children. If you've ever had any ideas, after you have children, you seem to get like, I don't know, whether it's bigger balls to just go for something, or whether there's more on the line that you feel like, Jesus, I better like make shit happen now because I have someone relying on me. Like, because you started your business after you had your son from your kitchen table, and you'd had a successful career in the garment industry. Like, what changed in you?
I think what changed in me was like, first of all, I always worked prior to having children. And then after that, I was like, having my identity be a mom is amazing, and I loved it. But I was like, there was so much more in me. I still wanted to be creative. I loved making my own money. I loved making things happen. I loved using my brain outside of just being a mom and a wife. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I felt there was a need for what I did. And I was like, I could not fulfill my need of having a stylish storage solution for toys or junk around my house. Because having my child, I had crap everywhere. And that's what it was. And I had dog toys everywhere. So I just wanted something utilitarian that looked attractive. So that's why I came up with it. And that was the same thing with Ramy. She was like, I need some great tops that look amazing with jeans, or pants that look fashionable. I think that's what it is. We both thought of a need, and we needed to make it happen because there was nothing out there. So I just cannot wait to have her on. Hi, Ramy.
Hi, Ramy.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming on, because you're so inspirational. Of course, I'm wearing Ramy Brook top because I love everything you do. So,
thank you.
You have so much to offer, that you started business in your 40s and came up with a need. So I just want you to tell everybody what made it happen.
It's funny. I actually started in my bedroom, which it's like I'm kind of back to my little back office right now because, as you know, there's a lot of work from home lately.
Yes.
So it's almost like I'm back to the basics here in my little office off my bedroom. But, you know, in 2010 and even before then, I was just shopping and going into all the stores and really enjoying, like, I love clothing. And I noticed that a lot of the tops that I loved were getting very expensive. And they seemed to be basic and silk and, you know, things that I love, but it was a price tag that I thought was outrageous. So I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm going to like learn how to make this and start my own business. And he said, great, go for it. And I felt I had a gazillion jeans in my closet, but every single time I went to my closet, I'm like, I cannot find anything to wear. I just need that top. I need something to wear. I love jewelry. So I'm like, I want something, you know, simple yet sophisticated and sexy. And I'm really not finding it out there. And one thing led to another. I basically asked any friend of mine who was in the garment industry, knew someone in the garment industry. You know, New York is filled with garmentos. No one in my family, but friends of friends. And it's amazing how helpful everybody was. So I'm friends with Stephanie Greenfield. She owned Scoop at the time. So she sat with me and taught me retail math, which I wasn't familiar with. Another friend of mine, her best friend was a pattern maker. She now works for the Row, but at the time she worked for a different company. It was called Tula. And when I reached out to her, she was employed by Tula. 1 week later, Tula shut its doors. So she had time on her hands to actually help me. She lived in Brooklyn. Her name is Annika. She's incredibly talented. And I went to her home in Brooklyn. We worked on all these patterns together. She had a sample maker who made the first group of 6 tops, 1 dress, and then I took that on the road and did a trunk show. It was really for like the help of other women supporting me, and it really was. Everybody was willing to meet with me, willing to help me, show me a lot about this industry that I had no idea about. I just had a passion for clothing and shopping and feeling really good when I got dressed. So, with the help of other people out there, I developed this line. And my first trunk show was in New Jersey at my
Yes.
sister's house at Short Hills.
Yes. Was that Dr. Robbie Ludwig or no, your other
No,
sister?
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, she lives in the city like I do, but
Uh-huh.
our younger sister, I'm the middle.
Yes.
She's my older sister, I'm the middle, and Lori's our younger sister. She lives in Short Hills.
Oh my God. And
My
she had
parents
all
live
her
in-
friends come over? Is that what the way it happened?
Yes. And Lori's really funny because she's this tiny little thing. She's like 5 feet tall. But I was like, you know what? Her friends are not going to disappoint her. They're probably a little scared. I knew that if my sister hosted something for me, they would all be there. So that was my first show. I figured before I did it in New York, I was going to do it at my sister's to like get through all the kinks. I mean, both my sisters have been incredibly supportive. And Lori, still to this day, hosts trunk shows, brings her friends to my store. I'm lucky to have these fabulous sisters.
Oh,
So,
I
and they
love that.
support me.
So was at the first orders, was it like made to order? Like you did the trunk show and then you took the orders?
Yeah, so what I did was I had samples in, it must have been multiple sizes, even though I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. But the sample maker, she knew a lot more than I did. So we had multiple sizes in different colors. And I had different tops, the Harriet top, the Lori top, the Paris, all these things that still exist today in the line. Because the other thing that annoyed me in my own closet was I was sick of like getting rid of trendy pieces. And so I wanted something that really just stayed there throughout the years. So these initial tops that I designed, there's still a lot of tops that we design today, really could live in your closet for many, many, many years.
Which is important.
It really is important that basic black sexy top, there's no reason that you have to buy that every year. So if you have that one that you love, you just keep on reaching for it. And my idea was making it more affordable than that Lanvin top that I liked. So people, if they love that top, they could buy it in multiple colors. And but my first trunk show, it really was made to order, and I brought a color card from the silk houses on 39th Street, and the girls would pick their style, pick their size, and then they would go through the color card and pick the color, and they would pay 100% up front. So I'm like, oh, I love this business model. Everyone's paying. Nobody's giving me a hard time because first they were friends with my sister, they were going to give her a hard time.
Yeah.
So,
and they funded it for you. Yeah. So it was good. They paid up front, and then you had the money to really get started.
Right. And I also taught myself QuickBooks. I actually hired a tutor. So I did 50 hours of QuickBook lessons because I wanted to be extremely responsible and organized. And if I was going to take credit card information or anything that had to do with any finances, I knew I had to learn how to run this professionally. And in my head, I wanted to know how to do everything myself because I didn't want to rely on anyone. I didn't know how to make the clothes, that I had to rely on someone, but everything else I wanted to learn how to do. From actual design to buying the fabrics to shipping to wrapping it. And thank God for the internet, I developed my first garment tags, everything I just learned on my own. It was a real lesson in entrepreneurship.
Well, I mean, well, you
That's
totally
so
nailed it. Is there any like famous stories of mistakes? Did anything come in screwed up?
Well, yeah, I make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, me too.
So,
By the way, I make
so,
endless mistakes.
you know, what's so interesting though is through my mistakes, I feel like that's how I learn.
Yes.
And either you can learn through someone else's mistakes, which is ideal, or you learn through your own. And because I wasn't working with someone to learn through their mistakes per se, there's a lot of things I did, and it was partially because I was naive. And it, it was easy to make mistakes, but I was able to turn all my mistakes into something I could learn from and grow. Um, there's a lot of mistakes also in design. I am not, I'm not one of the bigger chested girls, so bra friendly didn't really mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted everything to be low cut, backless, like something that didn't require a bra, because I am not gifted with any type of.
Oh, it's not a gift.
And
Yeah, no. I know that I just got a breast reduction, so I'm so happy. And a lip.
Right, so
It's
like for me, I took advantage of low cut and all these things, but actually every trunk show I went to, I would say 9 out of 10 girls said, I have to wear a bra. I have to wear a bra. So almost everything I designed in the first round was not bra friendly. I was like, what do you mean you need to wear a bra? Who really needs to wear a bra? So that was a big learning curve for me. And actually, every trunk show I went to, I learned something new. Some girls love to cover their arms. I found that fascinating because I was like, ugh, I'm always sweating. Every woman has something that they've already learned works for them or doesn't work for them. So my job was to develop something to give them that love of a sexy, beautiful top, but made them happy. So if they want to cover their arms, I had to provide that. If they wanted to wear a bra, I had to provide that. I wanted to fulfill all the needs that made women happy.
I love that these early trunk shows, you got to really know your customers because they were so intimate and it really helped you. As you've scaled up your business, how do you stay connected with your customers? Do you spend a lot of time in your store? Do you still do trunk shows?
Yeah, so I don't do as many trunk shows anymore. I still go out to my sisters, and that does keep me connected because there's a wide range of people and body types that I have to learn from. And also, I learn what's important to these women. Where are they going? Are they going to the soccer field? Are they going to weddings? Are they going to bar mitzvahs? Are they buying for their daughters? Like, I really learn what they are doing and what they are buying for. Yeah, so that keeps me connected. We have a store on Madison Avenue, which is super exciting. We opened that up in September of 2019, and it's on the Upper East Side, and that's where I live. And I go there all the time. Usually you can see me there more on the weekends because I go to my office during the week, but I love going there on the weekends. And I meet tourists. I meet people who live in the area. I meet like younger women who are working but want to wear something on a date. So I really get the full range of what these women are shopping for. And it's really important to me to evolve and stay in touch, or else it's a business that just stays the same. So I want that. I want to grow. So we add categories all the time: swim, cover-ups, denim. We added perfume and sunglasses sold like at the store and on our website. We have new deliveries every month because I personally get bored all the time. So I still sometimes look at my closet and it is filled with Ramy Brook.
Yes.
And I still sometimes be like, I need this. Like, I can't believe we didn't make it.
How often do you design and update? No, because I go on your website all the time. I actually call over and I'm like, oh my God, they got something new, because you do update so often.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how often are you designing to keep up?
4 major deliveries we do a year: spring, fall, holiday resort, and summer. But within all those deliveries, we have new deliveries every month. So like fall starts to come out, like pre-fall starts in July. And then fall really starts August, September, October, and then October starts almost holiday. And then there's November and December, which is holiday winter. And then we start to get into resort. And then after January, February starts spring. So we're constantly refreshing our designs and our color palettes. And we have to think about the entire country. So what may work for people in New York works differently for people in Florida. So it's interesting how the buyers buy things too. So Saks may do a north-south buy. North gets black and south gets white. And because a lot of stuff is done digitally these days, we really have access to a lot of knowledge and analytics. So it is a mathematical business as much as a fashion business.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the first major retailer that took Ramy Brook in?
So the first major retailer was Bergdorf's. And that was really exciting because I tried to get into Bergdorf's. I tried to get in everywhere, but at the time I was still working from my apartment, and not too many people were interested in coming to see the collection in my apartment. I didn't have any sales. Like, I didn't even understand wholesale, like, all the stuff that comes along with it. EDI compliant, like all this stuff was really way above what I thought. Like, I just enjoyed shopping. So I was like, they need this. Like, they're missing all these things that I'm making. So I finally met with the head personal shopper at Bergdorf because nobody was calling me back. So I went to go see her, and she had this humongous office and huge dressing room. So I laid out, my collection, which wasn't vast at all. It was like 6 pieces. And Chelsea Handler's stylist happened to be meeting with her and walked into the dressing room and said, "This is perfect for Chelsea." She was doing a show at the Beacon, a comedy show. I guess it must have been 2011. And she goes, "This is great. This is exactly what I need for her." And the shopper was like, "That's great, but we don't even sell this brand." So, so I was able to connect with Chelsea's stylist. She ended up wearing this blue top, which looked great on her. It was called the VR2, like very Ramy too. Like, that was what that's what I actually wanted to call my company in the beginning, but that didn't work out. So she ended up wearing it. The shopper ended up calling like the buyers who she had a great relationship with, and I was able to sell my stuff to Bergdorf's first. And when you say you're a Bergdorf Goodman, that's like a big deal to everybody else.
It is.
So that's like one of my fun stories.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, that's an amazing story. I mean, listen, you're at the top of your game, doing unbelievable. Everybody knows you. I mean, every one of my girlfriends. I mean, there's not a night I don't go out that someone's not wearing Ramy.
Yeah, I love it. But and I also have to say, when I told my friends I was doing this podcast, they're like obsessed with you. And if you could give them a shout out, Jackie and Jennifer, they love you. They were
oh my God. Well, hi, Jackie and Jennifer. I can't wait to meet you. And you have the coolest best friend. You girls are very lucky. So come to New Jersey and we'll have lunch.
They love you.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thanks, Jackie and Jennifer. I was going to ask you, then, you opened your store 2019 and then COVID hits the following year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Was that very stressful?
Oh, yeah. I think it was probably stressful for everybody.
Yes, and I'm just thinking a new store and then people aren't going out.
Right. I mean, there was so much that was unknown. We opened up September 2019, getting the kinks out of having our first store, finally getting our groove. When I tell you, like, we really started to get our groove that January, February, like, our business in general, like, everything was like exactly what we were striving for.
Yes.
And starting to hear a little bit about rumblings about COVID because our factories are overseas.
Mhm.
But it was the type of thing you just think kind of what happens over there stays over there, and it's never gonna, hit us the way it did. And then I remember I had my birthday party on my birthday, March 9th, in my store. I had like 100 girls in my store. I love a celebration. We did that on Monday, and then by Friday we were shut down. Literally the whole city shut down, closed doors, worrying about, health first and foremost.
Yes.
Like, making sure like people were surviving. I'm, worried about everybody. I was worried about my parents, all my friends in the store, my kids, like it just seemed like out of nowhere, even though it wasn't really out of nowhere. That Friday, we literally had to shut our doors. We had to make some tough decisions in order to continue running, the business. So, I think a lot as a consumer. And in my mind, when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to start to look for bargains. I go, there's all this inventory. You can't walk into any store. All you could do is shop online.
Yes.
And we happen to, over the past 5 years, really update and upgrade and build our website. So fortunately, we were in a position that we could fulfill all of our orders online. And then, there was other things we had to learn how to do, text to shop, things that weren't as common. We had to learn how to do. But, the web really, because of how we upgraded and how we build our business, we were able to survive in that crazy time, along with making some changes. And the truth is, we have amazing employees. Everybody on board to do whatever it took to, to keep the business going. Also, I work with my husband, who's just a brilliant man. We were able to make some decisions and succeed during that time, and also give back. Like, it meant a lot to help all the healthcare workers. I don't, if you remember that time, people just, the hospitals were crazed.
Yeah,
And
it was
these
devastating.
doctors and nurses and everyone was working 24/7. So everybody wanted to help by sending food or doing something. And then we decided to do a registry for healthcare workers where they could go on our website. They could pick anything they wanted, color, size, and people could go on and buy it for them.
Oh,
So,
that was so great.
That's amazing.
and that was, what I would want. I'm like, who wouldn't want to like come home to like a pretty, new dress?
Yeah,
And even if you
beautiful
can't go
gift.
out, you could wear it at home. And, every story was unbelievable. People who canceled their weddings, their big birthdays, like, and they wanted to get out of their scrubs and just come home to something. We just used our platform to do good and to make people happy.
Oh, that was so nice. You said something, I didn't realize that you work with your husband. I mean, initially you didn't work with your husband.
No, I didn't. No, the first 3 years I was like building this on my own.
Yes.
And, I hired a few employees. I actually took another apartment in my building because I was growing. So I kind of outgrew my office bedroom, but I didn't really know like to like look for space in the garment center. So I just took another apartment in my building. And then, as things started to get bigger and bigger, he always helped me, just giving me advice. And then he really started to jump on board with me in 2013 and help me make some decisions that I wasn't quite sure how to make, if they were right or they were wrong. And I just felt like obviously I could, trust him more than anybody in the world.
Of course.
So he was incredibly helpful to me and still is. He focuses on different things of the business than I do. But it's nice to like know that there's somebody I could fully trust, and he's just very, smart, and I really respect what he says, and he respects the way I do my business, which is I focus a lot on design and sales, and he focuses a lot on the finance of the business, and the operations, and we both also focus together on the digital aspect. So
that's good. I love that
Yeah.
you get to, I know, because I hate that back end personally.
Yes,
And that's
the
so good
hardest.
that you have someone
Yes.
and that you have someone trustworthy like your husband. So did he give up what he was doing before and you guys are solely in your business now?
So he's in a private equity investor.
Yes.
So, he's still involved with private equity in some ways, but the majority of his time is, spent with me and growing our business.
That's great.
That's great because listen, you have grown this business from just an idea to like I said, a global lifestyle brand, which is so impressive. Do you sometimes feel like, oh my God, how did I do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I do step back sometimes. And like, even like in the beginning, when somebody was wearing a Ramy Brook, I knew them, or it was like a friend of a friend, or my friend gave it as a gift. So anywhere I went, I'm like, oh yeah, I know her, or, that's so nice. But it was like, I understood why they were wearing a Ramy Brook. But now, when I see people wearing a Ramy Brook and they're full like strangers to me, that's exciting. Cause it was an exciting turn for me when I started to see women wearing the clothing who bought it, at a department store or bought it online somewhere. So that's when I got super excited.
Yeah, I don't think you could leave your house without someone not wearing Ramy
No,
Brook. I don't think
true.
I leave my house without someone not wearing a Ramy Brook.
It's so true.
I know, which is so impressive.
Thank you.
Everybody who comes on the podcast, we ask them 3 questions. What do you think? Well, I mean, you've said so many things. What was your big girl panty moment?
Right, I know, it's so funny. It's like one of those things. So I feel like there were probably a couple of like aha moments for me. And again, it was part of, I guess, the naivete of, starting my own business and thinking everyone would want my stuff. Like, why wouldn't they? Everybody needs that. And, when I met with some of the buyers, not everybody was so nice. And I was like really taking it personally. They'd be like, I don't need that from you. Why would we get that from you? Or, talk about the price point. And, and then I realized it's, the people I meet with, we all have our goals and we all have a business that we're trying to succeed. So it can't be personal for me. I just have to learn, listen, and grow. And, it's still difficult for me to sometimes sit in these meetings and they criticize, what I'm showing, because a lot of the design is extremely personal to me. So I have to remember that, it's not personal. They're not saying they don't like me. They just didn't like what I designed, for that collection or that season.
I know.
Yeah.
It is hard though. It's hard to listen to.
It's hard. It's hard.
I know, especially when they're wearing a shitty outfit.
Right. I'm a woman-owned business, and then they come in. I'm like, really, you really should try that on because, that would work for you, or be like, you may want to wear this on your date. So, that is always like a big aha moment to me. Maybe I know, but you know what? I clearly don't know everything, and I'm constantly learning. And I feel like, as I get older, I have a little bit more wisdom, and I do learn. But, most people think about their own job. They think about themselves. So I just have to learn that it's not so personal, and everybody just wants to succeed and do a good job, including myself. And, I'm very focused on women in general. I have 2 sisters. I have 2 boys and a daughter, but I, want my daughter to see how women thrive and could succeed And it's also okay to make mistakes, but learn from your mistakes and then, grow and move on. So, and like my big panty moments, they literally happen every other day.
Yeah, I know.
So, and it's like, and right now, like, knock on wood, like, things are great, and I'm so excited, and we have a great relationship with all these stores, and I'm thinking, oh, finally they get me.
Yes, I know. Believe me, I know what you're saying, but it's true. But I would get salty, and they'd be like, "Oh, no, that's," and I'm just like, "You're a cheese ball, and you're telling me,"
right.
but like me, that's the way I think, which is so mean,
right?
But they have a job to do, and I'm just like, I'm taking advice from them.
No, I think everybody thinks like that. Mm-hmm. I can't verbalize it as much because I think people would be.
No, you can't say that, but in my head, bubble,
yeah. But on another note, when women come in and they may not think it works for them and they actually try it on, like I would say 9 out of 10 times they are shocked of how much they love it on their body. Sometimes you just need someone else to like really say, you know what, try this on. I'm telling you, it will look great. So people do have to sometimes get out of their box. Mm-hmm. And like try something new, which isn't always easy to do.
No, the way you cut things, you cut a lot of things like on the bias, the way it drapes your pieces look amazing. That's why I think they look so good. And I think
surprisingly, a lot of these women brands are not owned by women or designed by women. So I understand what it's like to have hips, what it's like to have a butt, what it's like to like not be at your fighting champion weight all the time. So I was like, oh, I love that rouging. I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. Of course, like I understand. But, a lot of these brands that you think women are designing, they're not designing. So they don't have, their own experience of what works. So I think that's one of the advantages to our company is I understand. So that's the way I design.
I love that.
And it's not even I design. I shouldn't even say that. I have an amazing design group, but we all understand like the ultimate goal.
Yeah, but you're the creative director. You're still the head, and you're overseeing, and you know what works.
Right.
I get it. I mean, you don't
and
have
like the longer you work with someone, the more they understand you and like what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Everybody has the same vision. I get it.
We ask everyone also who comes on the podcast, we credit the Marge's success to being 50% delusional to 50% determined. How would you say your percentages of delusion to determination stack up?
Right. Oh my God, that's so interesting. Because I feel like sometimes when you start a business, like, of course you're delusional. Mm-hmm. I call it like naive, because when you start something that you've never done before, because it was my need, I just assumed it was everybody else's need, but that's not true. And determination will get you through that delusion, basically. That delusion is more like getting knocked down again and again and just standing right back up and just busting through those walls. And I've done that, time and time again. And it's the determination that gets me through that delusion. So it's probably 50-50, but my determination, and it maybe now is a little bit more, because I want to be successful. I want to succeed. So I am determined to really just, to do my best. And you learn even through COVID, there are so many things you cannot prepare for. So you have to have that determination and that drive to get you through, because it's really easy to throw in the towel. So if anyone was asking me for advice, I would say do not throw in the towel if it's something you really believe in.
That's true. So
I actually love what you just said also. Yes. You said, I really want to be successful. And obviously, we know you are incredibly successful, and we see your stuff everywhere and on so many people we know and don't know, celebrities, everybody. But it's just funny and so indicative, I think, of both of you also. Like, you never feel that the peak is reached. Like, there's I don't think, you probably don't realize how successful you are. I think that's what keeps you driven, the driving force. And same thing with me, because like if anybody recognized me, I'm like, oh, you know who I am? Oh, you know what I mean?
right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny. Even like,
And then as you know, running a business day to day, like you don't live in the glory. You live in
no,
like how to succeed.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true.
And I love the glory. I love the positivity and the positive feedback. And it's great. Now we're designing occasion. Like we are really doing some really fabulous things. So I recognize that we're doing well and that we're succeeding, but it's always great to keep on working really hard and succeeding and evolving, because once you feel like you've already hit that point, I feel like then things get stale and that's not what we want. So
it's
we have
true.
to continue to plow.
It's true. So we have one more question for you, and I feel like you've answered it here, but what's your most entrepreneurial advice?
So and this really did help me. Speak to everybody you know. Call in every favor, friend of a friend of a friend. You know, I was always like so like trepid, and I didn't feel comfortable calling someone and asking them for advice or meeting them for coffee. I didn't want to waste their time. But I realized, first of all, the worst that anyone can say is no. So, okay, you don't want to meet with me, don't meet with me. But for every no, there's probably 10 yeses, and people want to help. I felt everyone sat with me, they were helpful. You know, bring your notes with you, meet with anybody who will meet with you. For kids coming out of college, I always say go through your alumni list. You know, everybody loves helping like a fellow alum. Go through friends, like friends' parents, anybody, because you never know who could help, and really just, you know, ask for help.
I
So
think that's great
That really
advice,
is.
because I think people get nervous that they're going to get turned down. They're afraid of no. They don't want to
Yeah.
burden someone. They don't want to reach out. And I think that's the best advice.
It really is. Networking
Yeah.
is to me the most undervalued skill in business. Everything comes from your network.
everything. I
It's
mean,
true.
it took me a while to learn that because I didn't want to bother anybody.
Yeah,
you know,
I know
but-
the feeling. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't feel like calling that one. I feel like it. But now I'm just like, I call anybody.
You call everyone.
I
Right.
call everybody, because everybody calls me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to call this one for you. I'm
Like
going
you
to do this.
should.
Yeah, you have
Like
to.
you
And
should.
I love to help everybody.
Be a
Truthfully,
connector.
I love to be a connector.
I mean, so all people can say is no. I'm like, all right, no.
It's
But
true.
I mean, I'm friends with Jennifer Miller. She's a jeweler. She was so helpful. Stephanie Greenfield, Scoop,
Scoop.
Annika with the pattern. I mean, these women, when I tell you they went above and beyond to help me, is like an understatement. So it's so appreciative, and I try to do the same thing, and I meet with people all the time.
You could write an entire business book, because
Yes.
this podcast, you were so helpful,
So
so
helpful.
informational, so charming. I mean, just everything about you.
yes.
You're
But,
like,
I'm a fellow Jersey girl, so
I love
know,
it. Well, you're a ray of sunshine. So
Yes.
thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
on here, Ramy. I'm
Thank
so
you guys are great.
but tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, our website is ramybrook.com. We have 2 stores. Our flagship is in New York on 980 Madison Avenue between 76 and 77. And if you're in the Hamptons, we have a pop-up shop in Southampton, which is really fun. It's like in a cool courtyard, and we do fun things on the weekends.
I love it.
And then we're in a lot of the major department stores: Saks, Bloomingdale's, Neiman's, Nordstrom, Shop-Op, and we love all our retail partners. And there's great boutiques around the country too that sell our stuff.
Yeah, everybody. You can find Ramy Brook literally everywhere, and every one of your girlfriends, everybody's wearing it, including the Marge at all times.
Right. And it's great for mother-daughter.
It is great for mother-daughter. I mean, you throw it on and you just look like $1 million. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm obsessed.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Obsessed.
You know what I love? That she did trunk shows, and I think that's amazing. And I think
Yeah.
that's a great way for people to start a business.
It really
You can
is.
still do trunk shows, people.
I know, and I think that's where you really, like you heard from Ramy, she really learned what customers wanted, because she obviously knew there was a need for something,
Mhm.
but I love that she identified really quickly, although there's a need, it's not always a exact personal need, like learning people need a bra. People want to cover their arms. People like ruching in
Exactly.
the stomach. You know, that's one thing. Go out to your friends and family. Do if you trunk shows, focus groups. People's opinion really matters.
Yeah,
when you
because
start
what you
business.
personally need is not what everybody else needs. So you got to get everyone's opinion. And also don't be afraid to call in favors, call everybody you know, your friends, best friends, aunts, uncle,
Yeah.
brothers, sisters, you know, once removed. It's
Yeah.
like I network all the time. And don't be ashamed or embarrassed if people say no. Who gives a shit? It's
And networking is something that not everyone grows up doing. Like, I don't think in England people are naturally as good networkers, maybe because they have the British stiff upper lip and they're like afraid to ask if you don't want to trouble people or they're not bothered. And the school networks, I don't think are as naturally good at networking. When I moved to America, I realized then, like, my most successful friends in America networked when they got here, connected with other friends from schools and colleges, were connected with employers.
yes.
And that's how they got to the top of their game much quicker, because they utilized their network. So really think about everyone you know. Do like a little inventory.
Yes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Go on her website, ramybrook.com. She's amazing. Her clothing is
The
magnificent.
colors are beautiful.
You keep it for years. It's
the
absolutely
good
beautiful.
investment pieces.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it. I wear it all the time, and everybody you know actually wears it.
Yeah, and this really was like a how to start your own business.
Yeah, how to start
101.
your own business. And you know what? She's a true entrepreneur, and now her husband works with her. And I just love a story like this. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast as much as I did. I learned a ton.
So you can find us every week with amazing stories from other disruptors, leaders, entrepreneurs, and risk takers at Caviar Dreams Tuna Fish Budget, wherever you find your podcast, on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all of those good places. And you can find us on Instagram at the same name. You can find the Marge at The Real Margaret Josephs, and me at The Life of Mrs. B.
Thanks, guys.
Keep dreaming.
I'm no one